Hello and welcome back, everybody. Delta Flight Gaming back with some more God of War 1 and some more Greek mythology. So, in the last episode, I ended up talking about Alcibiades and Hermes, and I kind of ended it about midway through, so we'll kind of wrap that up real quick and then we'll move on. So, like I said before, the war between Athens and Sparta, the Peloponnesian War, went from 431 to 404 BC. Halfway through the war, Alcibiades, who was an Athenian, had this great idea to attack the entire island of Sicily. And the night before, someone goes around and chops off all the phallus parts of the statues of Hermes, which again was seen as like a good luck kind of thing. Well, he's accused of the doing that deed, and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to stand for that. I'm not putting up with it. Deuces, I'm out of here. And he sails to Sicily regardless. He's like, so I don't care. I'm really going to do it. And he gets called back. He's like, hey, you gotta come back here and stand trial. He's like, deuces part 2. And he flees and heads for Argos, and eventually he ends up in Sparta. So he pretty much was just like, nope, not me, not having anything to do with it, just no. So we're going to move into like with Hermes and another part of his aspect of being protection with, flocks. So again, he was also known as the Epimelius, or the guardian of the flocks, and was also some people would pray. They'd send prayers to Eumaeus, or Odysseus' swineherd. So they were basically, he was known as the guy that you want to, hey, I'm taking my flock out, I need protection, I'm going to make a sacrifice, or I might pray to Hermes for good protection for my flocks. And another nickname that he had was Synagches. Cynagches, which translates into dog strangler. Now, obviously that sounds a little strange and a little weird, but he was able to silence dogs. And I don't really think that's more of like a, kind of silence the dog, kill it, but I think it's more of a, what's that dude? The dog whisperer kind of thing, like that, done. No, you're done. No talking, no barking, kind of thing. But he was also, he had a duty kind of similar to what you'd see with like sheep herders or like sheepdogs, where they had that protection to the dogs or to the sheep. So it's kind of that like a bit of a dual nature in a sense, where he's like, I can keep it quiet, but at the same time I will make him bark and make him protect the herd, and bark to like either sound the alarm or bark to be like, hey, no, go over here, go over here, kind of deal. So, also with protection with Hermes, there comes, the aspect of the community. And the people in the city of Tanagra, they believe that Hermes was born nearby, in either a nearby city or just outside Tanagra, and he married a nymph called Tanagra. So that's kind of that's where they get their name of the city from. And the city was walled off, and he would protect the city from a plague by basically the firemen carry a ram around the city walls. He just kind of lifted up over his shoulders and walked around the city. So that's how they believed, he protected the city from a plague. So years go by and they develop a sort of like a ritual and more of like a tribute. Excuse me, sorry. Like I said, like a tribute. They would be, men would come around and they would apply in the city. They would apply for it to be the ram carrier, and they would choose the most handsomest looking man who would apply. And it's like, okay, well, we have Steve, we have Eric, we have David, and we have Mike. Well, Steve is the hottest one, so here, Steve, take this ram, hoist it up over, and go walk around the walls. Go walk around the city. Again, it was kind of to help that kind of protection against plagues or against any kind of danger, symbolic ritual. And this is also where we get the name of Hermes Criophorus, which literally translates to ram carrier. And there are some reliefs and some statues that you can see, and some of them will show Hermes carrying a baby ram. Some of them will show him carrying more of a adolescent to mature ram. So it's all the point was just that he carried a ram around the city, around the city walls. Now we're going to talk about his kids. So, first, there's Pan, the half man, half goat. And he is often represented as iphyphallic. His son, Pan, no pun intended, was known to cause panic. See what I did there? Ha ha ha. Anyways, he does this by, he causes a little bit of like a panic and chaos and disorder among the Persian troops while at the Battle of Marathon. And he becomes, or he's known as the god of the forest and fields and all the creatures within it. Mostly you see him within like the forest, stuff like in that area, not real helpful creatures within there. Now, Pan himself is kind of this like laid back, kind of hippie kind of a god. He loves to drink wine, just get drunk off of it, have a bunch of parties, just loves nature, hanging out in the forest, just kind of a laid back kind of, hey man, you do you and I'll do me, yeah man, so cool. And there's a bunch of woodland nymphs that he's like, hey girl, oh hey girl, ooh hey girl, ooh hey girl, just like hey girl, let me holler, let me chat you up, kind of deal. It's kind of his MO. And his sons are known as the satyrs, which are, the same thing, the half man, half goat. And he might not exactly be the hottest dude out there. There are plenty of other mortals and gods that are it's basically the ugly dude versus Hugh Jackman kind of deal. But the chicks love Pan. The nymphs are like, oh my god, he's really nice. He's really cheerful. He's got this like good heart about him, kind of thing. He's not really this like aggressive or mean kind of a dude. So they're all for him. And he ends up with the panpipes, which were basically just reeds that are bound together, which is another one you see in a lot of his like relief statues and paintings, stuff like that. You see a lot of him holding on to the pan flutes or panpipes. And most of the time you wouldn't hear it during the day. You really only would hear this going on at night. And it only, like, it's not just anywhere you'd hear it. You'd hear, it's like, oh man, look at those, the woods are kind of dark. And, oh, I hear music coming from those dark woods. That's actually pretty nice music. That was basically what Pan and his satyr children were doing. They were just like, yeah, let's just make some music. And the basic premise behind the panpipes and how they came about was Pan was feeling a little bit anxious, if you will, and he starts chasing some of these nymphs around Arcadia. And they're, no matter how hard he runs, they're just outside of his reach. They just manage to get away from him. And the wood nymph Syrinx, or the Dryad, just romping, just hanging out, just kind of dancing, moving about, just hanging out in the forest with her sisters, just, chilling, minding her own business. She's known to be a very, very good hunter, and is also to be very passionate. Pan sees her, and he's like, yep, I gotta have that. I need that. I need that chick right there. So, he tries to be the kind of, not Zeus kind of character where he's just like, you, me, doing it now. But more of the, hey, I like you. Would you want to go on a date with me? And the response was, sorry, but no. Has this ever stopped a god before? Well, if you've paid attention to my series before, no. So, she's like, oh my god, this guy he's nice and he's cute and all, but I don't want any bit of that. And he won't leave me alone. So, she takes off. She starts running, and he's like, dude, no. She's putting up a chase. She's worth it. Let me go, and I'm going to chase after that. So, Pan is like, no matter how much she runs, he's just keeping up in pace with her. He's, she's just outside his reach, but she's not losing any ground. And she starts to not panic, but she started to get a little like, come on, man, leave me alone. I said no. And she's running by a river, and she cries out to the river nymphs and her friends to be like, look, I need help. This dude won't leave me alone. I need someone to leave me alone. So to help me out, please, something. So she dumps into the river. When they do, the river nymphs, they, cast a spell, and they turn her into reeds. Pan gets up to the river, and he's looking around, and I know she just jumped in here. I saw her just jump in the river. And he sits there and he waits. And he's looking. He's not seeing any bubbles. He's not seeing any movement. And he sits and he waits for a while, and then he kind of realizes, well, she's gone. So once he realizes that, man, this really hot chick that I was after is gone, he just goes, and he lets out this really big sigh. And the sigh is so powerful that the wind that he exhales just goes right over the top of the reeds. It just makes this really pretty song. So, to kind of, he wants to keep hearing that. He wants to hear that noise again. So what he does is he takes a couple reeds here, a couple reeds here, here, strings them all together, and names the new instrument the syrinx. Names it after her. So even though, he might not have been able to be with her, physically, may have not been able to get with her, he will always have those reeds to remember her by. So, there's kind of a little bit of a love story behind the creation of the pan flute. So, but again, with Pan, he's not exactly a, one woman kind of guy. So, he's kind of doing his own thing, and he comes across the forest nymph Pitys. 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 I think it's Pitys. Again, she runs away because she's like, no, I'm good. You're cute and all, but no thank you. Again, he gives chase, and when she gives chase, she ends up transforming herself into a pine tree just to get away from him, because he might be a nice kind of guy, but he's very, very, very persistent. But there is one person that he does win over, and that is Celine, otherwise known as the Moon. But the only reason why he really does win her over was he dresses up as a sheep, just to kind of hide the, I'm half a goat and half a man. If you would like for me to be all man, I'll do my best, but if you want me to be all goat, I will. Oh, you like want me all goat? Right, I'll dress up as a sheep, and ta-da! I win! That's basically his most widely known kit. And when it coming back to Hermes, there are a few different, there's mostly just two different versions you'd see of him, either with a beard or without a beard. And, him having a beard in some aspects and him not having a beard in others, it kind of goes to be like, hey, this is for, with his beard, if he's got a beard, it means he's the adult version of Hermes. It has to deal with, we're going to put these statues out for, say, things like the fertility. Because when you're an adult, you want the kids, and you want the marriage, and flocks, and protection, and all that stuff. With him being without the beard, it's more designed to be towards, adolescence. So it's kind of how you want to, which version of him are you using it for? It's not just a, one version covers all kind of deal. So his nickname, Agonius, of contests, is basically when it was used when you, when I'm an adolescent, I'm using the beardless Hermes, and after the Agonius, which is in, their contest of athleticism, musical prowess, and hunting, to kind of demonstrate when I go from being an adolescent to being an adult. So I'm You know, I've got the beardless Hermes, and I'm going to start playing a musical instrument. I'm going to start learning to hunt. I need to be athletic as well to kind of show off that look. I'm ready to go from adolescence to adulthood. And it's a weird contest that they have. I guess it's competition kind of deal. But cattle raiding is one of the main activities that kind of signals, you know, going from adolescent to adulthood. Which, I mean, you kind of go back to when he was a kid and he stole cattle. That's kind of what they're using. It just seems kind of one of those like, hey, it's time for me to be a man. I'm gonna go raid Old Man Brand's cattle. I'm gonna go steal one of them. You know, it kind of sounds like one of those like, I'm gonna commit theft. I'm gonna commit a crime, and when I do, I'm gonna go from being a kid to a man. Sounds strange. So, to kind of recap here, Hermes is kind of, I guess you can call him like not a catch-all, but he's, you know, he dabbles in them arts. He dabbles in this art, he dabbles in that art, he dabbles in everything, a little bit of everything. He's, you know, a messenger god, you know, not just between gods to gods, but humans to humans, gods to humans, and humans to gods. That kind of deal. God of trade, god of transitions and boundaries, protector of travelers, as I said, you know, making sure the roads are safe, traveling with the travelers to make sure that they get to their destination on time and safe. Protector of herdsmen and flocks, you know, being able to like keep a dog quiet, but at the same time help. Hey, Fido, you know, go make sure these sheep are safe, or make sure the cattle are fine. Again, patron god of thieves, you know, the whole cattle stealing, to be like, hey, I'm a man now, I stole a cattle. Whee! And he was seen to be loved by public speakers because he had, you know, the public speakers wanted to be, I will help you with everything. Just like Hermes, he helps with so many things. So like me, I want to be like Hermes. It's that kind of, I want to be like him. I want to have that kind of personification or that kind of ideals. The god of tricksters. Again, same thing with the whole like, oh, I stole your cattle and then I ran back and kind of wrapped myself back up in my baby clothes, goo goo gaga wah. Nope, that wasn't me. The god of joy. You know, he just was very kind of laid back, kind of a happy overall god. The god of contests. Again, with the whole the Agonius, you know, with the like hunting contests, the athleticism, the music. You know, it just kind of goes to show that, you know, he does more. He was the ram bearer, like I said before. The whole, we're going to protect against the plague around my village. So, you know, like I said, Stephen, put that ram around you, across your back, and go run around the town. We need protection. He was the luck bringer. To the same concept of, you know, with that whole, hey, if we carry this ram around the city and we don't get plagues, he brought us luck. He, you know, in the fertility, he's bringing us luck by giving us what we asked for. Again, rich in flocks, the whole kind of, if you pray to me, you will have good wealth, good flocks, you won't be having to worry about, you know, having a starving flocks or having a small flock. You will have what you require. And lastly, he had the golden tongue. So I've heard of people having the silver tongue, be like, yeah, I can talk my way into anything or out of everything, but I have a feeling if you're known as having a golden tongue, I'm pretty sure you can talk yourself even into stuff that the silver tongue dude couldn't do. So basically, like I said, he was the god of many, many things. He dabbled in them arts. And next, I'm not going to start it here just because of the fact that I'm probably it's going to take a little bit to get through. At least we're going to start it. Hestia, the goddess of the hearth. Notes here are kind of short, but I don't want to run too long, so I will probably finish this up here, grab a save, and then we will pick it up in the next video. Anything down here? Yes. There we go. Alright, we're gonna start up with Hestia next time. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you're enjoying this, why not subscribe, make a little comment, like, share, and I'll see you guys next time.